Hi, everyone. My name is Trey Rowe. I'm a district sales manager for MiTek out of the Virginia and West Virginia areas. Today, we are going to talk about the Hornet saw, specifically about optimization and the print options that come with the saw. If you're already not familiar with our Hornet saw, it is an upcut saw that is highly efficient and it does a very good job with marking the cut boards. Often it's used for wall panels, but it can also be used for pre-cut jobs and other uses as well. To show you some of the options, I'm going to go directly into our Cut Builder software. This is the software that is on the Hornet saw. A couple things before we get started. First of all, since you're going to be working around the saw, as always, please make sure that you're wearing all necessary and appropriate protective wear, and also make sure that you're following the safety guidance for your facility. Second thing about this is that we are going to go and cover a lot of the settings that are part of the machine. This isn't really good for troubleshooting. I've seen problems before where if the calibration was a little bit off, sometimes the sawyer would go in and try and mess with, say, the print functions or even some of the optimization functions trying to fix it. And that's really not a good idea. Any changes that you make to the settings, you need to involve maintenance and also the facility manager. Especially when it comes to optimization, this can affect your efficiency rates and really have very profound effects on the overall operation of the saw. First, we're going to talk about loading the job and get it to optimize properly. I already have a job loaded. Basically, you go to My Jobs up top. You select the job. The stars select everything in that job. First thing we're going to cover is for the individual links. When you look at the individual links of lumber, here it has a 2x4 SPF number 2. Make sure you have the proper links that are available selected. If you don't have the proper link selected, then it won't pull from that and it can affect your optimization rates. So we're going to go through 2x6 and 2x8 for this. As you can see, it's prompting me to optimize. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And here for this particular job right now, we're getting a waste percentage of 12.2%, which is good, but we should be able to do a little bit better. Over on the right, you can see the boards as they're loaded up. They have their stock length, minimum length that you need, also the drops at the end of the board, and it talks about the material. We scroll down just a little bit. We'll see that one of these boards has a stock length of 10 feet and a quarter inch, but it has a drop of 1 foot, 3 5/8. One of the nice things about the Hornet saw is that it is able to take the scrap that you have in the drop lengths and cut standardized blocks from it to make sure that you get more out of your board. To do that, we're going to click on the options button, and then we're going to go to scrap cutting. Right here is where we have all the preset settings for our scrap material. What we're going to do is we're going to go to a new item because we're working with SPF number 2. Go down to 2x4. Click OK. And here we have our standard cutting options. So let's say that I want to do an 11-inch cut. We're going to enter that right there. Click OK. And now we have a scrap piece that will automatically take part of our drop-offs and turn it into 11-inch blocks. On the very right here, it says do not cut when the drop is longer than, and then it has basically a decimal inches with it. The reason for this is sometimes you might want to use a drop, say if it's over 3 feet or if it's over 2 feet, you might be able to use it for a web, or you might be able to rerun it through on another job. And so this prevents it from just completely taking over all your drops. But right here, I'm going to click on this and I'm going to tell it that anything that is less than 12 inches, go ahead and change it to a drop. Actually, you know what? Let's make that 24. We're going to close it out. Now when we optimize, our waste percentage dropped down to 7.1%. And when we go back down to those boards before, since that drop was under 24 inches, it decided to put our 11-inch scrap pieces into there. And that way you can build up a collection of pre-cut blocks of whatever size that you'd like. Going back to the options, if we look over here where it says the sorting profile, if you click on it, this is how it sorts the material as it comes into the cut software. One thing to pay attention to is the active material in the center. And you can change the sort by either activating it or deactivating it, and then moving items up and down. So you can sort by material, length, sequence, component, job, bundle, or structure ID. And you can change those around to decide how it goes into the saw. On the bottom, it has other options. Structure pairing, basically, if you want to do 2 boards at one time, keeping it together. You can choose cut by panel, number of panels to look ahead, and to look ahead in isolated groups. We made some changes, so we'll click close. And optimize. And what it's done is it's used our sort pattern, and it's also used the scrap cutting options to optimize our board and get as much out of our board footage as possible. If you click over on the right, if you notice for each of these boards, you can double click on it, give you some information about it. And over to the right, you'll have a little picture icon. If you click on that picture icon and zoom in, it can show you exactly what's being printed on that board. You can see the cuts and the printing. There's options on this to change what exactly is being printed on each board. You can get there in one of 2 ways. One, you can go up to the upper right to settings, click on that, put in your password, and then you can go to part marking. The other way is if you actually click on the printer section, it'll say click or touch for marker settings, put in your password. Down here in the lower left is also a button for part marking. When you click on it, it gives you a lot of options. First of all, it starts with the part type, then the display name, alias, whether or not you cut it or mark it, the unit of measure. So you can select inches, decimal, centimeters, meters, depending on where you are. And then it's going to give you a lot of options going down the side. Each one of these options corresponds to one of these items up top that shows you what that option is talking about. So say that you want it to, for this, you want the bottom plate to start marking my part ID. You'll click that. And it'll now include the my part ID as on part of the bottom plate. There's also an area for font sizes as well. I would be very careful about font sizes. With the font sizes, if you change them up too much, it can actually shift around your print and cause problems. So be very careful with that. Once you're done, just close it out and you're ready to go. As always, if you have any questions, please contact our support team. Call technical assistance at 1-800-523-3380 or contact your local sales rep. Thank you.